Turn to M3 and Karen B for this week's episode of Comply on the Fly. You'll get quick and timely answers to the most common compliance questions so you and your business can keep moving ahead. Please note this podcast and the contents herein do not constitute legal advice. Please seek the advice of counsel for any benefit compliance related implementation guidance or strategy.
Hello, everyone. I'm Karen B, and the Comply on the Fly question of the week is, are the deadline extensions due to COVID for group health plans still in place? And if so, can you tell me more about that? Well, yes and yes. This has been one of the more confusing COVID requirements and, quite frankly, often forgotten. So, what are the requirements? Well, way back in May of 2020, at the beginning of the COVID national emergency, the Department of Labor, Department of Treasury, and Internal Revenue Service published a rule regarding the extension of deadlines for certain group health plans. What was the purpose of this? To minimize the possibility of individuals losing benefits because of a failure to comply with pre-established timeframes, and also give a little relief in the way of notice obligations. In that same month, the Centers for Medicare and Medicaid Services provided additional guidance and basically stated that these requirements were not mandatory for public entity plans, non-federal governmental plans. However, the agency strongly encouraged non-governmental plans to follow the requirements. Further clarification was provided in March of 2021, so almost a year later. And so for our purposes, the focus has really been on two areas. HIPAA special enrollment, those rules that allow people to come on to your plan mid-year, and COBRA, those rules around people continuing their group health plan coverage after certain events happen. So here are the requirements as they stand today. As you know, for HIPAA special enrollment, there is typically a 30-day notification requirement. If somebody has a baby, adopts a child, gets married, or loses other coverage, they have 30 days to notify you to be able to come onto the plan. Under these special rules, however, an enrollee has 1 year from the date that they were originally required to notify you of that birth, marriage, adoption, or loss of other coverage, or 60 days after the announced end of the national emergency, whichever is sooner. So they have quite a bit of time. In no situation should it last, however, for longer than a year from the date that they were originally required to tell you. Similarly, the COBRA notice deadlines are extended in the same manner. For instance, if an enrollee is offered COBRA, so they had a COBRA qualifying event, let's say it was termination, typically that person has 60 days to notify you if they want to enroll in COBRA. However, under this guidance, that person has 60 days plus 1 year to tell you if they want to enroll in COBRA, or until 60 days after the end of the national emergency. For COBRA, this would also apply to the date for making COBRA premium payments, extended absolutely in the same way, and the date enrollees have to notify the plan of a COBRA qualifying event or a determination of disability. Just FYI, this relief, this extension of 1 year or until the end of the national emergency plus 60 days, applies to certain claim procedure and external review process deadlines. Also, as an FYI, the public health emergency has been renewed several times and was recently renewed effective January 16th of 2022. So we do not have the end of the national emergency as at this point. If you require more information or examples on these deadline extensions, please check out our fact sheets on the Insight Center at m3ins.com. And that is your Comply on the Fly question of the week. Thanks for tuning in.
What's on your mind?
If you have a pressing compliance question, send it to askkarenb@m3ins.com. We'll do our best to cover it in an upcoming episode. You can now follow and subscribe to Comply on the Fly on Spotify, iTunes, and Google Podcasts. Make sure to tune in next week and encourage others to join us.